And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show today. I have my good friend Rossie Mccree with me, so hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
And today we are reviewing the 1993 film So I Married an Axe Murderer, starring Mike Myers. This is probably one of my favorite movies that Mike Myers has put out, and not only that, but it's very underrated. No one really talks about this movie at all. I'm just gonna do a breakdown of the premise, and then after that, I'll give Rossi the floor on what she thought of it because this is her first time actually seeing the
Right.
film.
Yeah.
So I want to get her thoughts first, and then I'll break into the film and everything. So basically, you have this guy named Charlie. Charlie is actually a he's actually kind of like a poetic type of person where he goes to these clubs and he recites his poems and stuff like that, like with poem readings and stuff like that out in San Francisco. He has commitment issues. His friends think that he's just losing his mind and stuff like that with every single little nitpicky thing he's doing. And then he meets Harriet, who is actually a butcher. And then his mom thinks that maybe she might be Mrs. X, the person who winds up killing men on their honeymoon. So, with that being said, with that little premise out of the way, what did you think about this film?
Well, I was kind of not sure about it because it was something that I didn't think I would be into, and so I start the movie, and the opening scene where they're in the cafe, and I also want to say I love it's '93, so it has that Friends, the coffee shop, and the stand up, mic, whatever you call it, poetry night, whatever, was great. So he gets up on a stage, and I found it funny when he does his bit. And I just want to say, side note, so when you posted that, I didn't know what you're talking about until I saw the film, and then I really got it, and I really start laughing. Absolutely funny, because he gets up there and he's talking about an ex that he was dating. um I let's see, the part where you meet the family, his family, for the first
Yeah.
time. This what is it, a Scottish family?
Yeah,
And
Scottish.
I didn't realize that he would be playing other characters, or play the father in the film. So when you get to the house, and I'm dying because the dad's doing some countdown, some cheer, because they're getting ready to watch football. He was absolutely hilarious as the father. I love the mother, the son, the part where the friend comes over and they're sitting on a couch, and this dad starts going off about how big his younger son's head is. And so it's really funny because the kid's sitting in front of the TV set, and I'm dying because he pops his head up, and the dad he can't see the TV, and so he starts calling me, have you ever seen a big head like that? And you have, Charlie's best friend, who is a detective, sitting on the couch, kind of laughing at it, but also at the same time, don't talk to him like that. I found the movie to be absolutely hilarious. This was a really good movie, absolutely underrated. I couldn't believe that you really didn't hear much about the movie.
No.
I mean, this was a good movie. And also, I was surprised by the cast of characters, because you have Kramer in there from Seinfeld.
Yep.
You have a lot of those early, late 80s, early 90s comedians that we see now in the film. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. So absolutely love the film, and we can get more into, what takes place in the film.
Right. Like the opening scene, here's the thing. I love the opening scene because it actually, to me, shows you how San Francisco is. It gives you the
Yeah.
heart of San Francisco and everything, because that's actually how you picture it in the 90s, where
Yeah.
dark clothes, poem
Yeah.
club, stuff like that. I love the cappuccino scene where he goes,
Oh,
excuse me, but I think I ordered the large cappuccino. Hello.
right. And how they
then,
pass the cappuccino around for someone to finish this, and funny.
it really is, if you think about it. And then, of course, his friends looking like that he's supposed to be like fresh, like money, but he's really not. He's basically a 1970s pimp is basically what he's
Right.
looking like.
Right. Huggy Bear.
Huggy Bear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like how Mike Myers was able to use that and just roast him on that.
Right.
Then of course,
and also the fact that he brought, like, everything that was trending at the time in the 90s. I'm gonna skip to the Thigh Master scene. I found that to be so hilarious as he's watching TV and using the Thigh Master, and you see him holding the directions for the Thigh Master, and that thing, when he was using it and it popped off and shot across the room. I mean, like, seriously, dude, I was sitting here watching the movie and I'm thinking, John has great taste in movies. He was
Thanks.
absolutely right. This is a funny film. Yeah.
And then also too, it's Coming of Fears, which is like an old TV program that used to come on and everything. I used to remember when that used to come on TV. My mom used to watch it.
Okay.
And everything. So yeah.
Current Affair.
Current Affair.
Oh, yeah. He's watching Current Affair, and yeah, that was huge. I loved Current Affair. I come home from school, want to see, because it was like one of those magazines, or Enquirer, but on TV, and the most outrageous, weirdest stories would appear on a Current Affair. So I like how he was watching that, and everything that was hip at the time he put in the film. So, and he's really funny. Mike Myers is really funny.
He's actually, if you think about it, if you look at his filmography and everything, Mike Myers puts some stuff together that's actually funny. Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if the Scottish thing, that's like a future fat bastard, if you think about it.
Right.
Because he also plays the father, though, too.
Yeah, and which was him as the father, the Scottish accent, the overly dramatization of Scottish people. I'll skip to my favorite part was.
You know what? This is a comedy. We can just talk about aspects of it that we love. So
the wedding where the pipe, the guy that's playing the pipes, and his dad's singing the song, and I can't think of what song he was singing.
It's a Rod Stewart.
You remember the song he was singing?
Yeah, it's a Rod Stewart song. Do you know? Yes. Do you think I'm sexy?
If you want my body, that was so funny.
Yeah.
Yes, and then the guy that's on the pipes takes over and starts doing the chorus, and he does a great job, and then he falls over, which is absolutely funny because that's going on in the background as you're watching another scene. It's going on in the background. The best friend trying to pick him up. So that scene, I love the wedding scene. Yes.
And then he's like, bagpipe down.
Right, bagpipe down. That's right.
And then another funny thing that I really loved was, I love the chemistry between Harriet and Charlie. That was the biggest thing that I was sold on. Because some rom-coms, they don't really work that well. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. In this aspect, they actually do. And I loved how they go. I like how first they go up to her room and go up to her apartment and goes, no, I think I'm just going to call it a night because next thing you know, I'm going to be making out with you. You're going to be making out with me. We're going to be taking each other's clothes off and everything. And I don't think I don't think so. Well, do you want to spend the night? Absolutely.
Absolutely. But remember when he walks into the apartment and this apartment it's an artsy, it's an awesome apartment. But when he comes in, and remember there's that huge poster on the wall, and he makes a comment about, I think what you need here is a huge poster, of whatever it was.
Atlantic City.
Yeah, they're Atlantic City. That's right. And she used to live in Atlantic City. But just like little jokes like that he'd make throughout the whole film. I mean, you're always laughing because anything that he sees is to joke.
Exactly. Also too, even the mother and everything, she's convinced that there is a Mrs. X out there in the National Enquirer. That's something I want to let you guys know too. She doesn't read the actual newspaper. She reads the National Enquirer thinking that there's a Mrs. X that's killing her husbands on her honeymoon, on their honeymoons. And of course, Charlie's just thinking, okay, mom, whatever, and I got the juice maker. Do you have one of these?
That's right. But how funny was it when, after they first introduced the family, when you first meet the family and they're getting ready to leave and the dad yells out, your hour is up. You've been here for an hour. Go home. The mom, you're not expecting it. And I wasn't either. The mom, she's getting ready to, say her goodbyes, and she reaches for, Charlie's best friend and gives him a kiss, and he's kind of like trying to get away from it, and she French kisses him.
Yeah.
She French kisses him at the front door, and I'm dying because you can see him trying to get out of it. they get done. She goes inside and she stands there and she's like, "Whoo, that was good." So I like how they played on that.
Mhm.
And that continues to go every time the mom is around that best friend,
Right.
something's going on. So I love that play.
Same here. I thought that was really good. The dynamic with
Yeah.
the friends and everything. It's also very relatable though too with the characters and things like
Yes.
that. And
Yeah.
also, I love how the father is like a conspiracy theorist about Colonel Sanders. They put the special
No,
chemical
tell
in
me about
the.
that. I missed that.
Oh, you didn't. Okay, it's the best friend and him sitting on the couch. The son is that the other son with the big head and
Yeah.
everything is sitting there watching football, which is soccer,
Okay. Yeah.
and he's like, "I'm telling you, they put special chemicals in there to make the chicken, make people addicted to the chicken." I'm sorry, I sound like a Mexican rather than Scottish. Wrong accent, but but he's like, he goes with his little bitty eyes. I tell ya, I tell ya, he's got a special chemical in there. Colonel Sanders, no good. but um, but yeah, I love the Colonel Sanders joke that he makes, and then of course he goes, he makes another joke about his son though too that I really have to say was really funny was when because he probably has to cry his eyes out now on his huge pillow.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
I did not catch that.
Yeah.
Also, okay, so when he meets Harriet, I liked when he went to the butcher. She's a butcher. He goes to
Yep.
the meat market and she's swamped. There, she's just absolutely busy. The first time he goes there, though, he goes and gets the haggis for the family to have dinner. He goes back and she thinks he's there for another haggis and he's not, and so he volunteers to help her out because she's super busy. And I thought that scene was funny because he's literally playing with the meat.
Yeah.
He's doing different things. It's like a montage of him. They're playing with the chicken and making a chicken dance. Then he puts the meat in his arm to make it look like his arm's gone. Just that whole scene
Mhm.
with him and the meat, throwing the meat. I thought that scene was really funny.
I
And
did
I
too.
liked how you're right, their chemistry, because I liked how she was back there playing with them with the meat.
Right. I love that though too. And that's actually something I want to mention though too. I liked how he was acting like that there was like an alien popping out of his chest with it.
Right.
And
Yes.
then
Yes.
and then there was also another thing too. He's over there massaging the meat.
Yes.
So you're out from out of town?
That's right.
Because
That's right.
it's a long drive, huh? And then the people are just looking at him, and then Harriet has to move one of the customers out of the way.
Right.
But a little interesting fun fact, though, is the fact that she kept on getting distracted with him on that scene.
Okay.
And everything, too, because of the fact that he was always playing with the meat.
Right.
She actually cut off the tip of her finger on her left hand when chopping the vegetables with a kitchen knife. And Travis kept on shouting, "Cut, cut, cut." She meant literally. Yeah. Nancy kept on yelling, "Cut, cut, cut." She meant literally, although the crew initially thought she was referring to the term for stopping the shooting of a scene.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah. But
oh no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Go on ahead.
Okay. Okay, so I like when they, start dating and, they have this awesome relationship. And you're right, the chemistry between them was great because I love the scene where they're walking in downtown San Francisco and he's doing this dance. He's playing around and doing this dance and whatnot. And she starts dancing with them and they're doing this dance. But that's when they go back to the apartment. He spends the night. And the scene in the shower where he gets out of the bed the next morning and he thinks it's her in the shower. So he goes open up the shower. It's not her, right? So then he goes downstairs and he sits on a couch and all of a sudden the woman that was in the shower is downstairs sitting on the couch, which I thought was really funny because they played around with that, but that was her roommate at the time. in which they were very close. I thought that was really weird because up until that point, remember the mom reading the paper about the murderer,
Yeah.
and it was a karate instructor,
Yeah, a
and
martial arts
someone
expert.
named Ralph.
Yep.
So, you know, she's having these nightmares, screaming. Well, I wouldn't call them nightmares, but these awesome dreams where she's screaming and dreaming about someone named Ralph. And remember, she had told him about a karate instructor friend that she knew. So I loved how the more they date, he then gets paranoid because he starts to believe maybe he is dating that axe murderer, the murderer, because the similarities with her stories with the karate instructor. I mean, at that point, I'm like, she's it. She is the killer. He's dating the killer. So I found it funny how he tried to distance himself from her. And when he decides to break up with her, because at that point he thought, no doubt, this is her.
Right.
And he enlisted his best friend to help out. And the best friend's like, you're crazy. You have a great relationship. It's not her.
Right. He goes, you're crazy. Every single time when you meet another woman or whatever, you think there's something wrong with her and everything. He goes, trust me, she's not Mrs. X. Mrs. X does not exist. He goes, come on, would you at least look at the background for me? So they look at the background. It comes out clean. Also, too, his friend is also he's also hating his job because his boss is not like the police captains on the TV and everything. The police captain is trying to rehearse for him so that way he can get excited about being a cop.
Right.
You say, Paisan, next time I see your spaghetti looking ass and everything, I'm gonna go on ahead and fire you up there, and now you're gonna be a beat cop.
When they were going at it, I thought it was real. When his boss goes into his office and starts going off on him, stay away from this case. You're not going to be on this case. Blah 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 blah. And he's like, wait. No, I told you if I see you on this case, you know there's going to be problems. Whatever. Then they stop, and he's like, how did I do? You did really good. It's more believable now. That was really good. Keep working on it. And I'm sitting there like, wait, what? Oh, okay, because he's okay. Yeah, I thought that was really funny, and I love Alan Arkin, and to see him in this, a young Alan Arkin in this film. Like I said, everyone who was anyone at that time, comedic wise, was in this film.
Even Charles Bronson from Beethoven was in this movie though too. And
yes,
Phil Hartman. Right. Yep.
Yes. That's another scene I loved when they premiere Phil Hartman. They go to Alcatraz to go on a tour to Alcatraz. And who do you know is the lead cop there and used to work at Alcatraz? Here enters, Phil Hartman. I love that scene. I thought he was so funny because he was taking it so serious. And everything, Phil Hartman, at that, remember, he embodies the character. Yep. So even the walk that he does, if you watch the way that he walks, and as he's given the background story on Birdman, or no, the extra facts that he said others don't tell him, he's really serious with that, and he's telling them about this story, and all of a sudden he's like, well, let's go to the cafeteria and go look at the cafeteria, and just I love that he was in a film. I wasn't expecting him to be in the film.
Right. It's always good to see those little surprises that you don't think about and everything. I thought that was an excellent way of throwing some 90s comedians at you and everything for that time period though too.
Yeah.
But that's also the scene where he said, where his friend's asking him, so the real question is, did you sleep with her? Just, I just want to let you know, she's a lovely, beautiful person. She's affectionate and she's lovable. And yes, we did have sex.
Yes, that was so funny. So funny. And the thing about it is, like, you really want the relationship to work. You know what I mean? And you're hoping that she's not the killer, that he's wrong. But up until that point in the film, if you're watching it, you do believe that she is the killer. And so as they, when he breaks off things with her, because he's like, he tells her, I don't think it's going to work. I need time, all this stuff. They break up. Then he finds out that they actually arrest someone, or not arrest, someone turns themselves in because they say that they're the ex, the murder, right? So at that point, he thinks, great, it's not her. They already have someone in custody. I'm going to go back and get her back. They start dating again. And then weird things start to happen.
Right. Also, too, I want to mention this though. Rose, her sister or her roommate, to
Yes.
me, she was very weird. If you think about it, though,
Yeah.
especially when she starts reading the note that Harriet had left for Charlie. And
Yeah.
just make yourself at home and thank you for the hot dog. He goes, well, that was a lovely note. He goes, well, I'll just be going. He goes, well, you can always just come on ahead and stay. How about some buttermilk pancakes,
Right.
bacon, and sausage? And he's like, okay. So
with some coffee.
With some coffee. He goes, okay. So next thing you know, it was Fruit Loops that she's pouring for him. She goes, I'm sorry, we didn't have none of that stuff. He goes, it's okay. That stuff will probably kill you anyways. He goes, and as he's pouring the Fruit Loops, he goes, this is high in fiber and it's pretty good for part of your breakfast. And it had like a little callback to Wayne's World.
Apple Jacks,
Yeah.
But I like Fruit Loops, and so it's funny when he's eating the Fruit Loops, but remember, she starts walking away, and she says something really weird, which was, "Don't worry, I'll make sure to let her know nothing happened." And he's like, "Wait, nothing did happen." And she's like, "Don't worry about it. I'll make sure to let her know nothing happened." So she is weird because you're like, what the hell? What's up with her? Exactly. And she, also the part when, they get ready to leave, Harriet and Charlie, when the exchange between Rose and Harriet, the hug goodbye and the kiss goodbye. And, because I'm thinking that Rose is Ralph. And it wasn't Ralph. Who's this Ralph that she keeps screaming about? Then you meet Ralph, which was a really good friend of her from college. So there is a Ralph, but it is a female.
Right, which I thought that was very different. Because remember, when she's screaming out Ralph, she goes, Ralph. Okay. She.
Yeah,
she.
That's right.
Okay. And, when you first get with someone, like, okay, I'll just let this one go. It'll be okay. There's like red flags going all over the place.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He says, okay, I'll let this one go. It'll be fine. And then, also, too, I love how he woos her back, though, whenever he's at. Yeah. Because he does the poem thing. Sweet Harriet, sweet haggis, butcher shop. I'm not going for verbatim here, but and then I like how he uses the fire analogy though too with it. He goes, trying to stop me as if there's a fire burning into your heart, into the night he screams.
I thought that was so cute when he did that, because I mean, he knows he messed up and he's going out of his way to get her back. So when he does his little poem, at her window, absolutely they're going to get back together. It's really cute. And the poems that he does, woman,
yeah,
woman, so I like that part because, well, they also revisited at the end of the film, but anyway, so they do get back together. Right. And he, they're going to celebrate his parents' 30th wedding anniversary, which was another fun scene. They all go out and, they have this huge cake for mom and dad. Also, mom isn't she eyeing the best friend at that time too, because she has a thing for the best friend. But they do the whole 30th wedding anniversary. Great scene. He then asks Harriet to marry him. Takes her a little while to decide that she's going to marry him. And then she decides yes.
Right. And then also too, here's another key thing with Mrs. X. She also knows the words to Only You. And,
that's right.
And his friend goes, does she know the words for Only You? And he goes, gee, I don't know. We haven't reached that far in our relationship where I can actually ask her, do you know the words to Only You?
That's right. and remember at the wedding, which is so funny. The best friend in here standing up, and all of a sudden, Harriet gets on a microphone, and you hear her singing "Only You." And remember, the look that they give each other. They look and they're like, nah, couldn't be, couldn't be. Not only did she know the words, but she knew the words in another language as well, because she spoke Russian as well.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, she knows the words. It's her. It's absolutely her. Because I'm watching and trying to figure this out. It's absolutely her. She knows the words. But you don't want it to be her at the same point, because they have such a great relationship, but you're not thinking that it's anyone else but her.
Exactly. And then also too, I love, let's go back with Rose and everything, because she does come back again when they first get back together again. And and Charlie, they just got done sleeping with each other again, and then they're taking a bath together, and then that's when Rose says, you gotta you have a visitor, and then Charlie pulls out the bathtub head and goes,
"That's right.
Send down the card, please." Chansey, go ahead and call, do us a favor and send the card around the front. Thank you. And then, of course, he goes downstairs, and then she goes, "This is Ralph," and the face on his face is just priceless. He goes, "Ralph." He goes over there and hugs her, and next thing you know, the towel drops.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And he's just kind of stunned, and they're all, just, he's like, "I'm naked, right?" "Yeah, you're naked." So he's still hugging Ralph, pulls up his towel, and he said something that really funny to her, or maybe next time, or, whatever. And she's like, "Okay, I'll see you." But the relief that he had to know that this is Ralph. There is a Ralph. It is a female. It is not a man. Thank you, God. It is not a man. Love you, Ralph. Yes.
And then, but yeah, I definitely love the shock value on their faces though at the wedding. I thought that was really good. That was priceless. Yeah. And then they go to this poet's, I'm going to call it Dead Poets place, because basically a bunch of famous people who write poetry went to this place to write their poems and stuff like that. And he thought this was a great place to have the honeymoon and everything. And then I also like the car ride where he goes, "Yes, you are a sex machine." You're the best husband I ever had. And then next thing you know, he goes, "Why did you say that?"
I thought that was weird too, when she's like, because he's doing that with her mouth, but when he makes that statement and she's like, "Why would you say that?" Because at that point she's really starting to act kind of weird, and she's kind of, you're suspecting her, but yeah, she does do that. I'm like, that's odd. Why would she have a problem with that? And he's even taken back by that, but they get over that, and he's like, I just said it. It was just, it came up, and that's something I said. I didn't mean anything behind it. And she's like, "Oh, okay." So this whole trip that they take to the Dead Poets place, where they're also celebrating the lodge where they're gonna, have their honeymoon at and have this dinner at. This place is absolutely, the people and the characters in there are absolutely hilarious. But the funniest thing was when the detective friend ends up sending out her picture, and all the witnesses say, "That's her. I remember her. That's her." So then he's like, "Oh my gosh, she is the murderer. Let me get to Charlie." So he takes this plane, which is the most funniest plane trip ever. First of all, if you ever seen Half Baked, that's Guy that was on the couch. That's flying the plane.
Yep.
You know his voice, because that's all you heard was his voice. So his part was absolutely hilarious, because they're in a storm. The plane looks like it's gonna go down, and the frickin' pilot. Remember when he falls asleep?
Yeah, I remember.
When he falls asleep, and the dude looks over, and he's like, wake up," and he's like, Oh man, I was having such a good
It was a good
dream.
dream.
I was dying at that part. That was so funny. That whole plane ride was funny because you think it's
But
gonna go down, but he was absolutely hilarious. The pilot was absolutely hilarious. So as he's on his way to go save Charlie from, the fiance murder, they're having this hilarious dinner, their honeymoon dinner. And at this point, Charlie believes and knows for a fact, I am with her. She is the murderer. And from this point, he's trying everything in his power to not be alone with her. So you have the couples in the restaurant. The maitre d' comes in and he's like, oh, we want to celebrate 30 years for this one couple at the table. And then he looks at Charlie and Harriet and he's like, and this is the newlyweds here, and let's get the newlywed chair. And it's funny because Mike Myers, Charlie, doesn't want anything to do with this.
no.
So they're all throwing them together and they got him in his chair and he's trying to avoid Harriet. And Harriet's kind of like noticing that Charlie's acting really strange. It's so funny. So then they take the honeymoon chair up to the room. And how funny was it when Charlie asked the bellhop guy,
Nightcap.
that was so funny.
That was, and not only that, but you don't realize maybe that chair might have been, I think if it would have been if nothing happened, if she wasn't the murderer or whatever, it would be like a joyful type of thing with it.
Yeah.
But this was the chair was a horrifying thing for him. And you can tell that it terrified him.
His whole behavior with her was so funny. And that scene was the funniest. When he thinks that it's her, he don't want nothing to do with that chair. Nope. He wanted the bellhop boy to stay with them, have a nightcap, and he's yelling down the hall, please just stay for a nightcap. And then you have Harriet who pulls him in a room and he's just trying to avoid her. Let's go do this, let's go do that. And she's like, no, she wants to be with him and wondering why he's acting weird. So he then figures out a way to lock her in a closet.
Well, remember this though too. I love when they first get into the hotel though, and she supposedly has a headache, and then the concierge is like, do you really think she has a headache?
That's right. That's right. That's
and
right.
Then you see the wedding.
Like, then you see he's like, oh, nothing.
And then when she's in the bathroom, though, you see all the wedding rings that she actually had.
That's right. That's right. Right. I forgot that.
And then another thing, though, too, before he locks her in the closet and everything, too, the hotel room is decked out, and each hotel thing has its own theme. So it was to be, this one had a little hatchet, a little axe.
Right.
And I'm like, Charlie, if you thought that this person was the axe murderer, why would you go ahead and book a room with that? Thank you.
Yes. I remember seeing that and I'm like, why would you choose this room? I mean, because it's right there. As soon as you walk in, that axe is right there, which scares the shit out of him because he wants to make sure she don't get to that axe. Because he just knows, he thinks he's a dead man.
Right. And then, Harry goes, look, we have to talk. He goes, look, I already know about all your husbands.
That's
Wait,
right.
You do? Yeah. And then, at that point, he shoves her into the closet. They're fighting back and forth. She jumps on him, and then he puts her in the closet. And then after that, also, too, I want to mention this one little scene that I thought was actually funny, though, at the dinner table.
Yeah.
When his friend's calling him up and telling him,
yes,
don't leave or anything. I'm coming to help you. He takes the phone and and he goes, what should I do? The man who's sitting next to on where the next table is, he goes, don't worry, son. You'll know what to do when the time is right.
Right. Right. And Harriet's sitting there like, who is it, Charlie? Who is it? It's nobody. It's nobody. He's holding that phone. And remember when the phone goes dead?
Right. The phone goes dead. The electricity goes out. Goes, come and help me.
That's right.
He goes, please help me. I'm in, and then he goes, I'm in love with a beautiful person.
That's right. And then the lights go out.
Yep.
Which scared that before. That's when they were getting that wedding chair the wedding chair together. The lights go out. You hear it's frantic. Everyone's frantic in there. The lights go back on, and people there are used to it. But just his behavior with the telephone thing, all that, it's nonstop laughing from that point on, because we're getting close to finding out who this person is, and then Rose shows up. The letter in the room.
Yeah, because remember, it was supposed to be where Charlie killed himself.
Yes,
and he's reading his
right. He
suicide
wasn't
letter.
supposed to be there.
Right, because you weren't supposed to be here, Charlie. That's not very nice of you to be here. And he just looks, and he realizes it's not actual Harriet that's killing anybody. It's Harriet that's killing her husband, because she's jealous of Harriet and everything. Yes. And also, too, while that's going on, his friend's still coming, but he winds up asking to commandeer a vehicle which belongs to Charles Brosnan.
That's right.
And he goes, look, I need to commandeer your vehicle. He goes, no. He goes, this is a police emergency. No, not going to happen.
Right.
Well, how about this? Why don't you drive? And he's going the speed limit. Charles is just going the speed limit, doing everything that he's supposed to be doing, but driving fast. And here's his friend tapping on the.
That's right. He was like, "Can you stop that? That annoys me," because he's just like waiting. And you're right. They're just having a little drive. And also, what was funny was when he gets to the hotel and drops him off, he's like, "Would you mind waiting here for me? I'll be right out." He looks at him and takes off in a car. Not happening. I thought that was so funny. That was so funny.
Same here. Charles Brosnan, God bless his soul, he passed away and everything, but the comedic timing for that one little scene was great, to be honest with you. If you're looking for a movie that has some old SNL cast members, this is the movie for you, though, if you want to get that feel. But then all of a sudden, you have Charlie up on the roof with Rose, and then she's over there with the axe. She throws the axe. She misses him, and he also slides off of the roof. It lands on, and then he lands on the axe's handle, and of course, it's nuts.
Yeah,
and then he's also his friends finally makes it over to the hotel room, and everything kicks in the door. He goes, "Where's Charlie at?" He's up there. up on the roof. At this point he thinks that she's totally BSing him.
Yes.
So he takes her out of the closet, handcuffs her, and goes, "Okay, we're gonna have ourselves a talk. Where is Charlie?" And then you can actually hear them on the roof. But
so funny. You hear the axe being hit on the roof. You hear Charlie yelling, and throughout this whole scene, he's sitting there with a cigarette, talking to Harriet, like, we got to get down to the bottom of this. And she's like, he's on the roof. Don't you hear him? And the whole time they're talking, what's so funny about this, you hear him up there yelling for help. And you hear that axe, the thump of the axe. I was again dying. It was so funny because he doesn't hear them. No. And she's getting upset. She's like, he's up there. Don't you hear? And you hear him just screaming for help, and he's just sitting there. Let's talk. No, we need to talk. We need to talk. And as they're talking, you hear what's going on. So you're dying because you hear what's going on up on the roof.
And then at that point, I think Charlie comes sliding down off the roof, and he winds up back in the hotel room again because he busts the windows out.
That's right.
And then at that point, he realizes that his friend is alive, but also, too, Rose is actually dangling from the roof.
Right. So he reaches out to get Rose, get her off the roof, bring her inside the room, and they have her. And because she's like, "Please help me, please don't let me fall." And she's a murderer. She's been doing it the whole time.
So, what did you think about that? What did you think about Rose being the murderer and not Harriet? I mean, I like the fact that
Um,
Harriet wasn't, but rewatching it, you can definitely something was off about Rose, though.
yes, yeah. Looking back at it, and the earlier scenes when they first introduced Rose, something's absolutely off. I didn't think at all that it was her, because I like the way the movie just keeps you thinking that it is Harriet, because there's no other reason why she has this karate instructor, boyfriend who died. Everything that's in that paper, and to find out that the twist is it's Rose. I kind of wanted it to be Harriet, but happy that it wasn't. But knowing that it was Rose, it was great. It was a good twist. It was a good
Same.
twist. And it's one that this is a movie where you do want to watch maybe more than once, because the first time you watch it, like I did today, you didn't see a lot of that. You wouldn't think that it's Rose. But if you watch it again, then you're able to, you start noticing things and seeing things, especially with her.
Exactly. And then of course after that it goes back over to the introduction, right where we had at the very beginning of the film with with the coffee shop at the cafe.
Yes.
And he starts talking about Rose being the murderer.
That's right. That's right. I loved his little poem about that with Harriet's picture up there. Loved how it ended, and also I I absolutely appreciated all the different shots, like you said earlier, of an early San Francisco in the early '90s.
Yep.
The Bay Bridge. Just they got some great shots of the city. So I thought that was classic and great as well.
Same here. I thought it symbolizes San Francisco and gives you the
Yeah.
heart of San Francisco in the right way, in the right
Right.
context. And then also too, I mean, this movie makes you want to go visit San Francisco. I'll
Yes.
just be honest with you and everything too. And we haven't seen a movie where it gave you that kind of San Francisco kind of feel for it
Right.
or anything like that. And it's just good to actually have that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a matter of fact, they're actually making a spin-off movie for this.
Are they?
Yeah, I just saw. I didn't click on the link or anything like that. One of my friends shared it from MovieWeb, and the reason why I didn't click on it was because I don't really trust MovieWeb as a source,
Okay.
unless it comes from like Coming Soon, JoeBlow.com,
Okay.
Variety, or somewhere I know that gives full
Yeah.
factual information. Because I don't even
Yeah.
trust. We got this covered, but if they are doing it, it makes me excited, but at the same time, kind of hesitant
Yeah.
because I like this movie. It's a one and done kind of movie where you don't really need anything else with it.
Yeah.
Because I don't really want to see a spinoff of this, to be honest with you. And as a matter of fact, I'm very hesitant with spinoff movies and also movies. Here's the thing, also too, TV shows that are based off of a movie, especially a one-off movie. For
Yes.
example, Shooter, Lethal Weapon, stuff like that. I'm always
Right.
hesitant when I hear stuff like that.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think I felt like Lethal Weapon. Leave it alone. But this movie, I don't see why you would remake it or reboot it or make it into a series. I don't see why you would mess with it. It is what it is. It's a good movie for the time, and it's a classic. It's a cult classic. So leave it alone.
Right.
There's
Definitely.
nothing else to do with it.
Right. Another thing I want to ask you this: there's this scene that I wanted to know. I wanted to know if you and your friends played that game that Charlie and their friends played. Where how would you like to die? You remember that?
Oh, yeah. That I've totally forgot about that scene. I haven't. I
Me
haven't.
either.
That was a funny scene though, and when it gets to the detective's girlfriend, when she's like, electrocution. That's that. That was just that. And I'm even waiting. I'm like, that's that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't played anything like that or anything like that. I was just because here's the thing: I love conversations where they feel so real with the characters. Like you would actually
Right.
have certain discussions with your friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's something I wanted to ask you was something like that. But this movie is great. If you guys haven't seen So I Married an Axe Murderer, you can actually rent it for like $3 or $4
Right.
on YouTube right now. It was on Amazon Prime free, but sadly it's not on there anymore. But check this movie out. It has a lot of heart. It has a lot of meaning to it. It's a great comedy. I strongly recommend it if you're into underrated comedies, and also Mike Myers at his peak, in my opinion. Also, too, I want to say this is actually probably where he got the idea for Fat Bastard, and everything for Austin Powers.
Very true. Very true. Because this was the first one. This was, yeah.
Because he's Jewish, but he's playing a Scottish role, so it was different.
Yeah.
So, is there any other thoughts that you wanted to get out there for this film?
No, just the fact that it's absolutely underrated. You watch the movie. I agree everything what John says. You guys will see some comedy greats at that time.
Definitely.
Everybody was in this film.
Yep. If you definitely want to get your SNL fill, go on ahead, check out So I Married an Axe Murderer. So with that being said, where can everybody follow you at?
You can follow me on Instagram at Mccree123 hotmail.com. That's MCCREE hotmail.com for monologues, beauty videos, and pictures. Also, Twitter at Rossie Bark 1. That's Rossie Lynn Bark 1, and Facebook under Rossie Lynn.
Okay, and guys, we didn't get a chance to do a Rambo First Blood Part 2 review or anything like that last night. Some things ended up happening with our other friend that was going to join us, so we didn't get around to doing it. But guess what? We have a digital code for all 5 Rambo films. Here's the thing. You guys have to stick around for the whole entire show when we start announcing it and everything that we're going to be doing our Rambo reviews. You guys have to go on ahead. Number 1, like the video, share the video. Another thing, too, that you guys need to do, too, is you guys need to go on ahead, tell us while we're on the air why you're the biggest Rambo fan, and you have to stay through the whole entire thing until we're done so we can actually get a winner. So that's what we have planned out for that. There's not going to be any shows for Saturday and Sunday. We are actually experiencing a tropical storm that's coming in over here, so there won't be any shows for tomorrow. But stay tuned for Monday, because I'm sure that we might actually have something planned then. But my good friend Charlie and his friends are going to be doing a show tomorrow night, I believe. They're going to get together sometime tomorrow and let me know what they're going to be doing. But there is going to be a show. It's just not going to be me on it. So another thing, too, guys, is if you guys want to donate to the page and everything, how do you do that? You just go to GoFundMe.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. And then, of course, you guys can follow me on Facebook at Movie Lovers, TV Lovers Unite over there, and underneath the same brand name on Instagram and on Pinterest. And then you guys can also go on ahead, go to MovieLoversUnite.com for all your movie news and everything else for your ever and evers. And then, of course, you can go on ahead, get an audio-only podcast of this episode and many more that we do here at Movie Lovers Unite, where you guys get your podcast from. Another thing, too, is we also do some shows on stereo, so follow me at Movie Lovers Unit over there. If you're a sponsor and would like to sponsor us, just go ahead, hit me up at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And then, of course, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit. And those are all the places they can reach me at. It's been great. Thank you again, Rossie, for joining me for this review. It's always a pleasure. It's always a fun time to be able to do this with you. So always until next time, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. Stay safe out there, and bye-bye.